D. It's me 5 at the door. Alright. Alright, you're good. You go inside.
Good morning, everyone. Real sweet. I got to meet this homie actually in person, and kind of the lore has been built for a couple of episodes previously via Frank. I've got Sam from the Others Like Us. What's up, dog?
Woo! What's up, man? How are you?
Doing very good. I got to meet you in person over the weekend at Shadow Money Spell Exchange 2. Where you put on a hell of a fucking show. And
oh, hell yeah. Thank you.
Dude, it was like the whole thing just put together perfectly, flawless front to back. It was a blast.
Mm-hmm. Dude, thank you so much. That really means a lot, honestly. I was kind of scared about that one.
What's scary about it? Like
I just wanted it to go
hard.
Well, you know?
Yeah.
It was a lot of effort. I was just really nervous and hoping that people would show up and people enjoyed all the bands.
So let's there's a bunch of stuff that you kind of do that you're involved in. So let's kind of go through that part, because I feel like not a lot of people know about like what planning a fest is like. So kind of walk us through like, when it comes to what you wanted and how you felt, it ended at the end. And also, what do you think like the biggest challenges were?
So what I wanted, so I have another fest called Gnargaritaville that is like my baby. We've been doing that for 4 years now, and Quinn from Red Sun kind of reached out and was like, "Hey, what if we did one just kind of based off of the Shadow Money Spell Exchange like meme that they had, where it's like the real wizard trap shit."
Yeah,
I thought that was funny, and so I was like, "Yeah, dude, like we can book that." So it's just more of like, kind of like a more low key version of Nargaritaville, with just a lot of like just friends. I asked, and that was cool. And then so we did that last year for the first one, and that went pretty well. And then this year we just Quinn was like, "Can we put it in Oklahoma City? And then can we just get a bunch of bands that we haven't played with?" And that was kind of the part I was afraid of just being like, I don't really know these people. Like, yeah, like you guys, 95 Corolla. We haven't played with Townies. We haven't played with New Age Thief and Equipment. And so we were just like, well, I hope, like people will like it and understand, and be down to like play it. And so that's kind of one of the big worries about it. But yeah, that's also kind of the big challenge of just like making sure that everyone can get on the same page for these kind of festival things, and like making sure that I can put out, like I'm prepared enough to put out any fire that we run into. That's kind of been the biggest challenge, and having to do Nargaritaville, especially with the one that we did this year, taught me a lot about just like being overly prepared will help you be able to put those fires out and like make sure that like it can run smoothly.
Yeah, I think it's really cool to see people do this, because I find that it's more of a power of will thing, where it's like you can do this. Everyone can do this. It's just a matter of, are you willing to take the steps forward? Are you willing to walk the walk rather than talk the talk? I think that is kind of like my favorite thing about DIY in itself, is everyone's like, fuck it, we'll do it ourselves. And it's actually making the movement forward instead of just talking about these things.
Yeah.
It's really cool to watch, basically, like as an older guy, as a true unk in this scene, like as an actual unk, also because like my sister is pregnant, so like that's like I'm about to be real unk. But like seeing everyone do this stuff at a younger mid-20s, early 20s age and doing this has been really inspiring. And I feel like more people need to be talking about like the people that are doing this.
Mm.
And so I'm glad that, you wanted to hop on here. So I also wanted to talk about, actually, really quick, I'm going to shut this door up. My dog is just squeezing
Oh,
the
you're good.
fuck out of this goddamn squeaky toy.
My dog's chilling back here, like asleep.
We'll do that. That should help a lot. All right. So, the others like us, kind of like, let's go through the fucking timeline, dog. Like, how did it start? Where are y'all going? How is it now? Well, let's go through the whole thing.
Oh man. So the actual hit, so I feel like there's two histories. It feels like there's two bands. The others like us, like starting was me. I was in another band with this guy, Quentin, and he played guitar in that band, and we started this band because it was just like I wanted to do like a little silly emo side project. I was playing bass, he was playing guitar, and then we had this drummer named Mary, and we were not good. We were fun and had a lot of stage presence, but like looking back, I was like, it's not the music I wanted to make now. It's not like the idea was there, but we never executed well or like formally on that. And then the pandemic hit. Mary, she moved to New York, so she just couldn't. And then our Quentin left for a little bit, and Brighton, who's our drummer now, came in, and we did the Replaceable EP, which was like the very first formation. I'll say it was the others like us songs we ever wrote. And then we did that. Quentin came back, and when we got we got out of the pandemic, we started actually playing shows, and that's why I like to say the others like us started out with. But then it ended up with Quentin and I both playing guitar, and we played a show. I'm going to kind of call him out a little bit. There was we played with Arcadia Gray, and one of their members tweeted right after the show, not tweeting at us, but tweeted, be like, local bands, you need to have a bassist. You're going to sound a lot better with a bassist. And it was right after we played with them. And we love Arcadia Gray so much, but it was just like, oh, they're so funny. Right. They're so right. And so we got Noah to hop on, who's our bassist now. And he actually is, his first show was the first Gnargaritaville back like 2 years ago now. And so that's kind of where this band is. Quentin left, and we were a 3-piece again for a little bit. And then last year we had Alistair join, and he's just been amazing to work with, doing trombone and guitar for us.
Yeah, that was I love y'all's thing. I'm trying to figure out like the bands that I would say is most of like, I see a lot of like Circa Survive with y'all, and like a little Ocean, and like a little bit. It's like imagining a more cleaner tone from like a Ocean type band.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really, really cool to see like bands like y'all's, and a lot of bands in Midwest emo, like moving away from like drive pedals or like from like distortion into more of like this fuzz clean thing. It's super fucking sick.
Sick.
But like, what would you say would be like your inspiration for not only the tone, but also the bands that you used to listen to that
I mean, a lot of the stuff that I listened to, I was super into like when I was in high school, I was like super into like My Chem. That was a huge influence. And that's kind of leaks into some of our stuff now, but like My Chem or like, The World's a Beautiful Place was really big for me. Foxing was really big for me. I mean, Foxing for like the emo stuff.
Foxy's my favorite band in the world. So like, just
love Foxing.
Anytime someone mentions them, I'm just like, giddy.
Yeah, no, I've been listening to them ever since what was it? The Dealer came out. I love that album. I'm trying to think of like Jeff Rosenstock's been super big on tone and just kind of like how I've been able to like kind of my ethos into the music scene of like DIY, because he started his own label. He's been doing everything DIY. He even toured just with himself playing guitar, and then had an iPod playing the backtracks. So that like Jeff Rosenstock's huge for me. Pup, really big for me.
Sure.
A lot of that stuff, especially tonally, Pup has been kind of influential. They they've got one guitarist that's kind of dirtier and kind of like not to dunk on him or anything, but the tone's kind of like trashy inherently. And then they've got the lead guitarist that's like more.
Stefan's like guitar is totally, I think, the dirtier side of it, and Steve comes from such like a like, I don't know, he's got like the jazz background, he's got that whole thing, so he's just more weird about it, but he usually tends to go cleaner. But yeah, I would say Pup with y'all is 100%. I can see that through line.
Pup's been huge. The one I don't like talking about it because they're a canceled band, but like it's really hard for me to talk about my influences and not mention them. But Sorority Noise is like like huge on me. I listened to it like at the exact right time in my life. Their last album came out when I was 17, so it's just like that really kind of shaped me. And the reason I'm bringing them up is because I went to a show when I was 17. And this band called My Heart and Liver were the best of friends. They were like a local emo band at the time. And they did a Sorority Noise cover. And I was like, whoa, holy shit. Bands that are local in our scene are playing the music that I listen to and like connect with. So I thought that was like, without that band, the others like us wouldn't be a thing. And I say that literally and like, you know, like share their influence, but literally like the cab that I use that we backlined for Shadow Money, I bought off the guitarist for My Heart and Liver. Noah, who plays bass in our band, was their guitarist for a while. So it's just like a lot of that kind of, we connect super well with that band, but they're not around and they haven't been around for a second.
That's cool, man. I feel like getting a chance to kind of like go see where all this stuff is bred in Oklahoma City. And literally, it's like, it was just such a wonderful weekend. I think Oklahoma City is absolutely so cool. And I got to actually, you know, see whatever is fucking going on there with everybody. It's so crazy. Yeah. I think that, like, honestly, it feels like there's a part of Oklahoma City that it reminds me of like if you've seen like a dead flower, but for some reason there's a bunch of like, you know, new growth on this, on like in the bottom and the sides. So like there's a part of the city that is like no one's gonna touch it. This is kind of old and kind of run down. But there's this new thing. All these, for some reason, people are still here trying to make new stuff. So like going by where Dig It is and Dog Days Vintage, that whole area. What's the name of that area?
You're gonna expose me. I don't actually live in Oklahoma City, so I really don't know the area that well.
Are you from Tulsa?
I live in Tulsa.
Okay, cool. So so I'm not getting the chance to go to Tulsa. Tell me more about how you like. Is there through lines between Tulsa and Oklahoma City? That's nice because everyone just does the same things. What's also Tulsa like?
Tulsa's like it's smaller for sure. I think it's like half maybe the size of Oklahoma City, but like it's still kind of the same. It's a lot of like growth, a lot of new like buildings and a lot of new restaurants and like venues are popping up. It's cool because it's very similar on a smaller scale of Oklahoma City, but everything's like, you know, you described it perfectly of like a dead flower with growth around it because like, you know, there's some not good spots in Tulsa, but you know, there's still like a bunch of abandoned buildings around, but that's being, you know, like this cool restaurant just opened up down the street from where I live called The Pump, and it was an old gas station that they just turned into like a cool like bar kind of area. They got games and like darts and stuff, and it's just a cool new spot that is use of like an old gas station. But I mean, the music scene's pretty much like the same. We're very in Tulsa and Oklahoma City is very like interchangeable music wise. Like, you know, if you're like an Oklahoma City local and you play in Tulsa a lot, you're basically a Tulsa band. We had people think that we're a lot of people think we're an Oklahoma City band, but we're from Tulsa, and it's only like an hour and 45 minutes apart, so it's not honestly that big of a difference.
No, there's it's just something interesting that I like going to these cities. Like Nashville has like it's been growing new. It's basically a brand new city over the last
Hmm.
10 years. So seeing Oklahoma City have like and I'm guessing Tulsa is very, very similar, where like I went to the Oklahoma City bombing memorial, and
Hmm.
that was just beautiful and like really, really cool. But around that area, it's just like this everything's kind of frozen in time. And it feels like all the investment for Oklahoma City has gone to, instead of like redoing those old buildings, they're now just become husks, and we're going to just like
Yeah.
put money into other places. And I think that whenever you see that happening, there's always like a surge of like the local investment into like scenes, into like new cool spots.
Hmm.
So I think that's been really exciting to see for just Oklahoma just in itself, where it feels like, do you think that there are like uh, any issues with like getting jobs, or do you like, because again, DIY and local stuff is like inherently political. So it's like, do you think
Hmm.
that there's enough like investment into the communities from like the state to help with that kind of stuff?
Um, yes and no. I think, and especially in Oklahoma, we're really kind of, I say we, as in the kind of our government is really not the best about like putting money into the right spots. And investing into like they're investing into the wrong things. I'll fully speak about this on the Tulsa side, that they had this program where they're like, hey, we're building a bunch of apartments downtown. Anyone that's not in Oklahoma, we'll give you $10,000 if you move here and like live here for a year or something.
Oh, wild.
And it's like, well, why aren't you giving that to like there's a serious like homeless problem, and unhoused people are like everywhere, and it's just like, well, we can use that money to like help them out, or like help out any of the like food banks that are so desperately in need. So yeah, I mean, yeah, there's there's some like, I'm in the food industry, and there's a couple
Mhm.
programs that are really cool for the food industry. But it's just like I feel like they're kind of not putting all the money in the right spots all the time. Like
Mhm.
there's a deal with the food industry that I know some people are, some restaurants are being offered. Like there's this big kind of foundation that's giving people like healthcare inside the food industry. So like me, even though I'm full time at the restaurant that I work at, I don't have any full time benefits and all that. But this foundation has offered to step in and be like, yeah, we'll help with your dental and your healthcare and your vision and all that. So it's cool, but it's also like, the, you know, there's also other times where the city is wacky and will put their money to try to bring new people in and not help the people that are already here.
That's interesting because I find that like again, in cities and states where, maybe aren't enough people coming in,
Hmm.
which is like, hey, maybe it's a set of priorities where like
Yeah.
priority one is economy, so people are always going to do that. We're like, we need more
Hmm.
people, and then we'll go inside. I agree that it doesn't need to be flipped. If you want to take care of people, take care of the people that are already here rather than worry about
Right.
bringing new people in. But that also goes to say the same thing with like uh, pitching for like events and stuff like that, where like
Hmm.
you can't like guarantee the same people are going to come out every time. You have to get new people involved.
Right.
So that's a really, really fascinating through line where like when you're pitching for Nargarita, are you trying to go regional, or are you like, do you do a lot of like ad stuff? Like that's very interesting to think about, like you as your own state trying to do this as this
Sure.
big thing.
Um, and with that kind of being said, of like having the government with help money, they actually the city of Tulsa has a what's it, the Tulsa Film Arts and Music like center. They are basically helping us pay for all the local bands, so we don't have to worry about their money for that,
Cool.
which
That's
is really cool.
great.
Yeah, they're cool. It's super cool having them pay for, like literally that's how I'm going to get paid for this, is or how the others like us is going to get paid for this. But like, so that makes us kind of worry less about the locals if we can just cover them perfect, and then we can focus on trying to get, larger bands to be like, hey, like Tulsa's kind of cool. Oklahoma, you hear Ben Quad and Cliff Diver coming out of Oklahoma, like come in, we have a cool scene. So like say hypothetically, like this is not this is not me telling any secrets about Nargaritaville, but for example, being like, hey, Hot Mulligan, come here, see all these cool bands.
Disclaimer. Huge disclaimer. That is a hypothetical.
This is hypothetical. If this is actually happening, I would be in so much trouble talking about this. But no, being like, hey, Hot Mulligan, come over and see that we've got this cool scene. And basically having them, like a big name. That's what we're kind of working on. It's just trying to get like larger names to come in and be more interested in this, and then see like, oh, cool, like Red Sun's playing. We've heard about Red Sun on Twitter, or like Ben Quad's playing. We've heard about them. So it's just to kind of help entice them. And that's the super cool thing with Oklahoma kind of blowing up right now is like, hey, we can help get larger bands. And then once larger bands come in, more people are going to be like, oh, Tulsa, that's not super far from like, I'm living in Arkansas. I can go there. Or like I'm living in Missouri. We have a lot of Missouri friends, so they'll love to come out. But we've had people fly out from like Chicago. We had someone fly out from Arizona for this year's Gnargaritaville. So like it's cool. Just to be able to like, we had, we're not getting these big names quite yet, but it's cool that people are already super interested in this, little festival that we're putting on.
So I wanted to kind of ask on like a psychological level, as someone that has been doing DIY for so long and like actually walking the walk, what is something that you feel like, what are things that you want to do and what are things that you think that you can't do? Like, because like in general, like you've shown that you like if you have the will to do it, you can absolutely do it. What are the things that you would like to do more? And what do you think that is like holding back from others trying to do these things?
Something I want to do more is definitely just kind of, I want to be able to book ourselves, book the others like us, cross country, which is something that's probably just kind of, something that we could probably easily do, but it's just kind of like a fear holding me back kind of thing.
Sure.
And that's kind of the big thing, I think, is just like the fear of failure is like a huge, kind of thing that's holding out, I know surely everyone back from being able to do the thing that you want to do. It's just trying to get over that hurdle. But one thing that I've kind of learned doing this for as long as I've been doing it is like, if you are afraid of failing, then try small. And that's kind of one of the things, like for the first Nargaritaville, I was just like, I want to play a show with a bunch of my friends, and it was for my birthday. It was like basically a birthday show, and we booked all just local bands, and then had a couple bands be like, "Hey, we heard about this. Can we hop on?" And we're like, "Sure, absolutely." And then, it just we got kind of just lucky. The more we've been doing it, with just like bands being interested and what bands we were able to get. The second year, we had Forrest from Singapore come over. Just because we were going to tour with them, and they were just like, yeah, we'll come to Tulsa. And so small, just start small. And that's kind of the big thing that I've been, doing. And especially with like touring more, is like we've been able to start touring just regionally now. Our last tour was only Texas, Oklahoma, and then Missouri. And then this next tour we're doing in December is like Tulsa. And then we're just doing straight Texas down to Houston.
I think that you kind of nailed the point on the head, which is just like start small and just start doing it. Like find whatever the threshold is for when you're able to walk the walk. Yeah, I think that's kind of perfect. What would you say, for you or for the others like us, or whatever this thing is that you want to call yourself, that's like, this like if you were LLC, you'd probably have some like whatever it is. Like,
sure. Yeah.
What is like, where do you see yourself in 5 years, and what do you hope you have accomplished?
For the others like us, I just want to be able to do this as like a job, and like not be able to like have to work a day job per se. That's like end goal for me, is be able to do music full time and just tour as much as we can and play shows. Because honestly, like, I was talking to a coworker who doesn't do music, and they were just like, well, isn't the point like you want to get fans? And I was like, honestly, I just want to play shows. And like, this is so fun to be able to play shows and meet new people, like be able to reach out on a limb and play with 95 Corolla and Townies and equipment and New Age Thief, and just be able to be like, okay, well, I've never met these people in my life, but like, we still had everyone had a blast, and we were able to put on a really good show for people. And sure, people can go buy a shirt and say that they're a fan, and that's really cool and all, but that's kind of not like what I'm super interested in. I just want to be able to play shows. And so hopefully that's kind of the end game, is just be able to tour as much as possible and do this full time and not have to worry about, money, back, having to pay rent back home while I'm on the road. But for like booking Sam wise,
I like that, booking Sam.
Booking, I think there's the others like a Sam, and then there's booking Sam, and then I've got other like work Sam, but that's whatever. I would like to have Nargaritaville just be like not like almost like a Coachella, like I want it to be like a big staple. And the goal for these last 2 years of Nargaritaville of just being like, I want this to be a fest that people want to come to. Sure. I just wanted this to be kind of like a Coachella of like, get a really like a super solid lineup, and then just be like, hey, here it is, and everyone being like, holy shit, you got X band, you got Y band on this. And I think that's kind of what we're cooking up right now for this year. Last year's was pretty sick when we announced that we did battle sets like Hekra and Ultra Deluxe.
Yeah.
Or that was super cool, and people being like, oh my god, how did you get Hekra on this thing? And people don't know that like 95% of booking is just DMing someone then asking, and the worst they can say is no.
I think that the booking thing is the lowest level of entry, because it's literally just DMs, like buckle an email, just like, if you email is like kind of plan C when it like, I think that it's like, sure, fine, but like, I think it all just goes down in the DMs, and I think it's like
legitimately.
Yeah, like, I think that's how it worked with us going to you literally DM'd us if we wanted to do it, and we were like, yeah, and boom, and that was done. And
100%.
Like, yeah, it's nice. I like that. I think it's easy, and the barrier entry is really, really low. I think that it's really impressive to see. I think that you should give yourself a pat on the back. I think you should. I think you should like know that you've come a long way. Considering that you're also, we haven't even talked this, you're making shirts. Like you're like you're involved with lots of things, and you're involved with like, you've got lots of fingers and lots of pies. And I think you should be very proud of yourself for getting here. Like, I think everyone that's in a position like this, I feel like it's hard to like stop and smell the flowers and just like see where you're at and how far you've come, because you have come really, really far, considering that, like, again, you are doing this by yourself.
No, that really means a lot. And I wish I could. I have like the worst imposter syndrome. So no matter what, it's just like,
yes, okay,
cool. Shadow Money was really fun. That was awesome. That's in the past now. And now I have like, we have a super close deadline of like announcing the first run of bands for Nargaritaville. So it's just like, that's cool. And literally a week after Shadow Money, it's like, oh, okay, we got to announce this. So I got to make sure that we're booking bands, and then I got to make sure that we're going to be ready for our December run with Ultra Deluxe, and like make sure that we've got new merch stuff that we're working on. So it's like, I give myself like the drive home from a show to like kind of be proud of myself, and then I'm like, okay, next thing, we got more stuff to plan on.
I think that's good though, as long as you're like, you do give yourself some time to do it, because I think that there's like a lot of like there is a lot of expectation in being a band to push and to push as far as you can and to stretch yourself as thin as you can. And I think that as a guy in his mid 30s, there's you know there's an end thing for me where it's like, okay, I know what it's, you know, my back can't take this much longer.
Yeah.
Like, I think that it is a fucking young man's game, and I think that, you know, everyone doing this right now, and they are in their 20s, like, I'm so fucking proud of y'all for doing it, because I'm so just jealous that I never decided to do any of this stuff. Like, all of my stuff was done as a dare between my wife and I, where and that's I mean, I'm very lucky to, you know, and you should feel very lucky. I feel very lucky to get where I've gotten, where I get to actually talk to bands, and like that's the only reason why I wanted to start this podcast anyways, was I was able to like say like, well, how are y'all fucking doing this shit, because this is ridiculous, this is hard, this is fucking bullshit. Like, right. I just think that y'all are just really, really, really impressive, and I think you should give yourself a fucking second to say, yes, I have done a good job, and you will keep doing a good job. I think that you guys have the will to like go really, really far. Gnargaritaville sounds insane. Yeah. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say thank you so much. That really means a lot. Yeah. Now with you, it is definitely a young man's game, and I feel like even at 24, we're starting to start to be like kind of the older guys, because like seeing like Red Sun coming up and they're doing like signing a Wax Bodega, and those guys are now just 21 is it's crazy, really crazy to me.
I find it's just like when it comes to them, it's just like there's some people that like critical strike like in audience, and I think that maybe there's a reason why. I mean, like, it's not that they haven't put the work in. They are incredibly talented, and they've done everything that they needed to, and they just hit a zeitgeist of just like what it feels to be a member of an audience going into a band, and then the audience saying, "Hey, we see ourselves in you," and like their meteoric rise will be studied forever.
Right. Well, no, and they deserve it all. Honestly, they being able to be so close, where I've got a group chat where it's us, Me Too Thanks, and Red Sun, and we just talk every day. And seeing those guys just work so hard every single day, it's super cool. And like it's cool kind of being like, okay, we're getting Unk status to them, almost. And so it's super cool being able to watch. Like, we took them out on the road for the first time. We basically kind of like put out their first music with that split. So it's like super cool being like, oh, these are like, it's super cool watching them like now blow up and go to Wax Bodega and sell 200, 300 vinyls in like 3 hours. Like, it's crazy. And I would be lying if I said I wasn't jealous, but I've gone past that point of being like, oh, it should have been us. Like, what the hell? I'm just so proud at seeing what they're doing right now. And their new stuff is so good. And it's so cool, like, seeing them be like, oh, we just got offered to play with, you know, Burn Bright Fest. And that's so rad.
Yeah.
Just being like,
it's just really cool to see just like people succeed, and to have it come from a place of like I know I could never rise to the expectations that they have for themselves. Like, I'm just happy that like people even know us, and like, I'm not like, I've talked to the people from A Place for Hours. We're not those guys are in us. We're not touring bands. We're going to come play a fucking big show, or if we can say yes to shit. But like, we're like a 1 tour a year because of that's the PTO and bullshit that we have.
Sure.
Like, we're just happy just to be a part of it and just watch everyone else put all this fucking work in, and just be on the sidelines and just be, I like being a member of the audience way more than I like being in a band. Like 100%. I am lucky to be a band, but that's just so much smaller than just being an audience member. So I want to play a song of yours. We can play anything that you want in like a little radio-esque kind of thing. I won't make you listen to it. We'll edit it in.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, any song you want to hear
we could do About That Milk I Owed You.
Okay,
it's
perfect.
The one that we did with the split with the Me Too Thanks and Red Sun.
That's right. Okay, cool. Yeah. Here is About That Milk I Owed You from The Others Like Us.
I'd have it together. It's been a year and a half. This feeling will last forever. And I'm not prepared for that.
Awesome. Listen, Big Dog, thank you so much for fucking coming on here and for just being such a huge proponent of like this whole thing. Just congratulations on everything. We'll be talking to you. We'll talk to you over the course of like the next couple of years just to see how everything's going.
Absolutely. No, I really appreciate you having me on and wanting to hear me yap for 40 minutes or whatever.
Absolutely. I think that your story is interesting. You put a lot of work in. You have a lot of insightful things for other people because you've done so much stuff. So like, yeah, I wanted you on. I want anybody that's like doing something like this on so that they can talk about their experiences. So maybe someone can finally, I want other people to stop feeling scared of doing this. So like, yes, there are moments, but you can do this.
Right. Well, I will say this would not be possible without Frank. So shout outs to Frank. Love
Frank
that guy.
Frank Blation, we fucking love you.
So funny. We're now like basically neighbors now. My partner and I just moved into this apartment like a month ago, and now we're like we live across the street from each other.
Perfect. So,
yeah.
Well, listen, you have a good rest of your day, big guy. This is going to end here in a second, but
no worries.
Love you, Big Dog. This is great.
Love you so much, man. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Listen, you have a good rest of your day.
You too, man.
Bye.
Bye.